Hey guys, welcome back to another video, or should I say welcome back to another video. If it's your first time here, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video, and welcome to the Anderson's family. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Welcome back to another video, guys. So I'm outside, so I apologize for any background noise in advance. Now in today's video, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you guys again what is my story moving to Canada. As the title of this video suggests, I risk everything to move to Canada. A lot of persons have been reaching out to me. Does moving to Canada make sense? They're probably single, they're probably in a stable position in their home country, and they want to know if it's worth the risk, right? Now, whilst I can't tell you guys from an individualized perspective if it's worth the risk for you, I can share my story with you guys to let you guys know how I risk everything to move to Canada, and has it been working out for me? How has it been going? That's all I can do. Now, as I get into the story, I'm going to ask you guys to do something very important for me. Hit that like button on this video. It really helps out this channel. It really helps out this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and leave a comment. Let me know if you have done this before, if you're thinking of doing this, or if this is something that you'd be doing or want to do in the future. Really interested to hear your feedback, right? Quick background for all the persons who are seeing my face for the first time. My name is Dems. I moved to Canada in 2019 as an international student from the beautiful country of Jamaica. I moved with my wife and 2-year-old daughter at the time, Malika Jade Anderson. Now, having moved to Canada, we realized shortly after that our daughter was delayed and she was ultimately diagnosed with autism, right? She has not been able to function at the level of her peers as yet. We're still hopeful that she'll get there. She's still non-verbal. We're still hopeful that she will begin speaking, and just all of those lovely stuff. Now, back in Jamaica, guys, I was in a decent position. I worked as a credit officer at a microloan financing place, and my wife worked as a administrator at a beverage company, right? So we were living a okay middle class life. Now, we weren't very established in Jamaica, meaning that we didn't own a house. We were paying rent at the time. We had a car, but we were paying car payment. And just like any other average family, we were just trying to make ends meet by just going through our daily routine of just surviving, living. Now, before moving to Canada, neither of us had traveled outside of Jamaica before. We have no idea what traveling felt like, let alone migrating to a brand new country, right? So for me, I was never primarily foreign minded, so I didn't even have a passport because I came from a background where stuff like that wasn't really important to my parents to make sure that we had all of those things before. And then I went through my early adulthood just living, surviving, and just not on the top of list of my priorities. So going through life in Jamaica, my wife and I, we met, we were dating at the time. Sorry, we met in 2013, and then we got married in 2019. So we have been together for a while, right? Lots of ups and downs throughout the mix. But then when we got married, we decided that we needed a change, predominantly to give our daughter a better life. So we were looking at our options, and we were like, what are we gonna do in order to provide a better future for our daughter and future children? And then I've thought about looking into Canada before, but I always see the process as being this difficult, overwhelming process that I won't be able to do. Like, I just always thought that it would not have been possible for me to do it. So it always come up every now and again, but I always dismiss it. Like, even when I was going to a community college in Jamaica, there were some schools that came to the college. I remember that clearly, and they were doing their presentation. And some of my classmates even were successful in that program, but one, I didn't even think about it because I had no idea where that money was going to come from. And as a school as at the time, I know that my family didn't have it like that, so it wasn't even something that was very important to me. But we got married in February of 2019, and we started looking on how we can make a change because we were just stuck in a cycle. Year after year, we're just going through the same motion of just getting up, going to work, paying rent, paying bills, and just not seeing how we'll be able to progress past that point, right? Thought about going back to school, all of those lovely things, but we just couldn't put the two nickels together to make things work the way we wanted to. So we decided that we wanted a drastic change. So then we started looking into moving to Canada. Now, moving to Canada was a decision that we made in our mind, but we had no idea of how we were going to accomplish this, of how we were going to make this possible. So what we began doing was our research. We began doing our research before we even know where the first dollar is going to come from, because, of course, regular middle class family, we didn't have a lot of savings. We were just trying to survive, right? We were literally just trying to survive. So my wife, she had her sister who was living in Grand Prairie, Alberta at the time. So we reached out to her. We were like, what are the options? What can we do to move there? And she mentioned that, you know what? The school system seems to be working. The school, international student, I call it pathway, even though it's not really a pathway, seems to be a very popular choice these days that she have seen. So we began looking into it, and then, guys, we saw an exuberant amount of money for school fee, and we were like, holy. But anyways, we decided that we're going to do it. At first, my wife applied for school because the plan was for her to go to school, and then I would come, hopefully, on an open work permit, and then I'd be able to work and provide for our family and stuff like that. She applied, but the program that she applied for, she was denied entry because a part of the prerequisite was you needed to have CXC mathematics. If you guys are from the Caribbean, you guys will know what I'm talking about, which unfortunately she did not have and still does not have. So we were disappointed at first, but then we decided that, you know what, let me try. So my qualification at the time was I started coming to college to do my associate degree in business administration, but I did not finish. I had a couple of courses outstanding, so I wasn't awarded the associate degree. And then, of course, lackadaisicalness and a lot of things. Like, I wish I had this mindset back then, but I didn't, right? So I didn't go back and complete it. So I decided that, you know what, let me try. So I decided to apply. Well, we decided that I should apply, and then I applied for school, and I was successful. First win in the bracket. We were successful in my application, and I got accepted into college. Now it's time to do the immigration process. We looked into the possibility, of using an immigration consultant because, of course, we have never traveled, no travel history, none of the sort. But then when we look at the cost, we realize that, we can't afford it. So we had to buckle down and do things on our own. We did our own research from start to finish, like day in, day out, even at work. So if you're watching this and you were my previous boss, that's what I was doing when you guys weren't seeing the results. I was doing a lot of research and stuff like that to make sure that we have all our bases covered. But one of the big things that kept hindering us is finances. Are we gonna be able to afford it? So what we did was we began selling our furniture, right? And this is what I mean by when I say we risk everything to move to Canada. We sold all our furniture. We literally ended up with a bed, a dresser, a fridge and a stove, and a TV that was on top of the dresser. We sold everything. If you look on Facebook Marketplace right now, you probably still see some of our items for sale. We sold all of our items to get some money in. And then as we get to one part of the process, we just keep doing the same thing. And then we started doing things like keeping fish fry, different events to just accumulate as much money as possible. We started living as menial as possible, which means that we stopped going out to eat. We stopped ordering food, all of those things. Like, we're just like living as basic as possible. And persons around us probably couldn't understand why, but we had a goal. So we literally decided that this is what we're gonna do. I submitted my application first for the study permit because based on research, we saw that it's better for the student to apply first, and then after you have become successful, then you would apply for your family to join you. So we decided that that's what we were gonna do. I did that. Through the time of waiting for my visa decision, I was very, very, very nervous. I was a nervous wreck because we had invested everything into this. We had paid our school fee for the year in full. Every single thing, proof of funds, we have done all of those lovely things. And then if the visa was denied, then we would have not had any furniture. I think we had even decided that we were gonna give up our lease for the place that we were renting. So pretty much we wouldn't even have anywhere to live. That's how serious we were about making this transition. It was like all or nothing. It was all or nothing, guys. It was all or nothing. Now, fast forward, I've done many videos where I spoke about what I did after my visa was approved and the feeling and all of those things. So you guys can go and check out some of those videos. So fast forward, my visa was approved and I submitted my wife and daughter's work permit application, and that was another process. That was another research and just, you know, making sure that everything was up and running and all of the funds and everything was submitted. Now, because our visas and stuff took a while to come through, I think a couple months, of course, we're spending, and then I had a car. My plan was to sell the car. It had a small balance on it at the time. My plan was to sell the car, pay off the small balance, and then have the vast majority of funds that would have been used now for our transition into a new country, a new space. Remember now, we don't really know anybody outside of my sister's circle, right? My sister-in-law's circle. So we decided that we're gonna sell the car to get the funds and make the move. I talk about risking everything to move to Canada. Now, a couple of weeks before we were able to finalize our travel dates and before even Nats got our approval, my car got stolen. I've shared this story many times. My car got stolen and puff up in smoke. And it was devastating. It was devastating because it simply means that the funds that I was relying on, that we were relying on for our transition now is no more. Back to the drawing board. Everything is already sold. Everything is already out the window. Everything is already gone, disappear. So pretty much we had to pivot, right? We pretty much had to pivot to make sure that we are still gonna pursue this dream and we're not gonna allow the adversity that came our way to stop us. So what we did at that point in time was to rely on family, and that is why I'm so passionate about helping my brother and his family, because it was my brother at the time who was able to loan us some money. To make the transition. So when you guys hear I say that we move with only $100, it simply means that after landing and everything, in what we had physically in our name was only $100, and then I had this money that my brother loaned me, which was technically to go back to him. So that was what our journey was like, risking everything, and then we landed with just $100 in our name that belonged to us, and we were like in a new country, new environment, not having any connections whatsoever outside of that small circle. Looking back, we were very brave. Looking back, we were very bold. And would we have made the same decision going backward, looking backwards? Probably. I'm not even sure, because like knowing what we know now and just how hard it is to transition, it was a big risk that we took. It was a very, very big risk that we took. And a lot of persons are wondering, like, should I make this risk? Should I take this risk? But what I'd like to say is, if you don't risk anything, you don't get any reward. Because doing the same thing over and over and over, you know what the end result is already. So you're just gonna be stuck in a cycle. So we wanted to change the cycle, so that's why we took the risk. And being here, we shared our early start of our landing in Canada and how I'm getting a job and all of those things. So go and check it out, guys. But nonetheless, we've been in Canada now for 5 years. 5 years we've been in Canada now. And this is the best decision that we have ever made in our entire life. So I always tell people that, listen, don't look at how you start, look on your goal and your end result of what you want to accomplish. Because if you don't take the risk right now, you're probably not gonna get the reward. There's no time but now, right? There's no time but now. So don't procrastinate anymore. Don't feel like, say, oh, everything, all the ducks are not in a row. It will work out. And even if the beginning is difficult, look on the end goal, look on the bigger picture, because that is why we're doing it. We're doing it for our families. Now, a lot of us have to be the bridge, right? For myself, for my family, I didn't know if I would have been able to travel, let alone migrate to a new country. And it all started with a decision. So be the bridge for your family. Many of us don't have that bridge, that person overseas that can file for us, that can send for us, that can give us that opportunity. Some of us does, but some of us don't. So if it is that you're in a position that you have to make a way, make a way. And if you don't know anybody where you're going, That's okay. That's okay. You'll make new relationships. And sometimes you have to come out of your environment and go into a new environment to reach your full potential. So don't feel like, okay, then you might lose some friends along the way, but that's okay. Some family member might drop off the wagon along the way, but that's okay. As long as you keep pushing and striving, you'll build more meaningful relationships, and then you too can change your life. So I risk everything to move to Canada. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to do the same thing? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Get us to 20,000 subscribers. That's our next goal. Smash a like on this video and drop a comment. All right, guys? See you guys in the next video. Peace.